even know why I'm talking. Okay. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am so sorry for the lack of videos, but not too long ago I actually finished my first year of law school. And so this is what this video is going to be about. It's going to be about my experience and what I went through and some tips and advice that you guys can use for any of you guys that are watching this video and are a incoming 1L or those that are interested in law school. So if you want to learn more about my experience, go ahead and tune into this video. So right off the bat, law school is hard, the coursework is rigorous, and it's very time consuming. So anyone that is interested in law school or is an incoming 1L, I just want to throw that out there right off the bat. It's just hard and it is what it is. So right now I'm going to just talk about my 1L experience. I went to law school straight out of undergrad, so I graduated when I was 22. And I'm now 23, so I just finished my 1L year. I went from West Coast to the South, so that was definitely a big change for me, but I felt like the change was good because I needed to like branch out and experience like another region for myself. So how my law school did it, we were broken up into sections, section 1, 2, 3, and 4. I was in section 4. My class schedule was 9 to 2, and no, I didn't pick out my class schedule, the school did. So they're like, hey, welcome, you're 1L, these are your classes. So they basically broke us into these sections. There was about 45 people in my section, and you see those people every day, and those become your colleagues or your future attorneys, people you're just going to work with in the future. So you do grow a bond with them. So I would be in class from 9 to 2. I would go home. I always took a nap when I got home. I'm just always tired. I'm always sleepy. So I would get home from school, take a nap, and then study for the rest of the day. That was basically my day. I think I studied at least 5 hours, but it depends on like each class and how much workload there was. And you don't take the same classes every day. Like Monday, Wednesday, Friday would be like the same classes, and then Tuesday, Thursday would be a different class. So I did that. That was my fall semester. My spring semester, my class schedule was 11 to 5. So I kind of liked my 9 to 2 better, just because you have the rest of the day to yourself, as opposed to 11 to 5. Like by 5 o'clock, it's like, okay, the day's over. Like I need to go home and start studying, you know? So I definitely like my fall schedule better for multiple reasons. One of the reasons is because Miss Rona didn't mess it up, but that's another story. You do have tutorials. At least my school offers tutorials where it's a 2L or a 3L that will basically arrange with your section, like, hey, when you guys don't have class, this is where we're gonna have tutorials. It's not mandatory, but it's highly recommended. Sometimes when a professor tells you some things, sometimes it goes over your head, but when you have a student that like says it to you and like you can relate to them, you know, you actually like, oh, so this is what they were talking about. And it kind of reiterates what your professor was saying in your lectures. So you go there, they kind of review it, they give you practice questions, they give you material so you can go over it. And I thought that was really helpful for us. So I did like my tutorials. Some of my tutorial tutors were very engaged and wanted the best for you and made themselves available whenever. So that was cool. Moving on to professors. They were available to you. Some of my professors really cared about their students and wanted them to succeed so much that they gave us their actual phone number. Anytime we needed any help or didn't understand material or just had a question, they made themselves available to us, because again, this is a professional school. You are paying them to teach you the material so you can pass the bar and make sure you have a full understanding. So they do make themselves available to you to make sure that you understand the material. So that was basically how my 1L went. Spring semester was the same thing. They basically gave you your class. I took property law, contracts, civil procedure, crim law, and torts. And then I had a writing class, which is called lawyering processing. And they just taught us like how to write like a lawyer, which is totally different from what I learned in undergrad because I was a social major. So that was basically my experience. Okay, tip number 1 that I have for anyone interested in law school is to be adaptable. Law school is about thinking on your feet, being flexible. Things change all the time. You don't know how many things, like for example, COVID-19 coming second semester and it being online and not being able to, go to the library and study, or having the access to printing, or having a quiet place and no distractions. So definitely law school is about adaptability, being able to adapt. Say for instance, in undergrad you studied one way, you've come to find out like that doesn't work in law school for you. You need to adapt and maybe change your study habits, change where you study at. I did not like studying in the library in undergrad. I don't know, I just thought it was just like, it's too quiet. I need some background noise. I just need something. And I always just studied in my room, and that worked for me in undergrad. Law school, that did not work. I needed to go somewhere quiet. I needed whiteboards. I needed just silence, not looking at my bed and be like, oh, I'm gonna go to sleep and take a nap. Because in law school you do have to study, so you need to be able to adapt. And granted, when you become a lawyer, like, you also always need to adapt. There's going to be curveballs thrown at you left and right, and you just need to be able to like, hey, like, yeah, this is not how I planned it to be, or this is not how I wanted it to be, but you're just gonna have to adapt and be able to see it through and persevere. If you're able to adapt and bounce back, you're going to do well in law school. Tip number 2 is about studying. You have to study in law school. So I know undergrad, sometimes you could finesse. You're like, yeah, I'm gonna just study at the last minute, like cram. No, you cannot do that in law school whatsoever. If you do that, you're setting yourself up for failure, and it's only going to hurt you in the long run. You need to study. You need to create a study schedule. Like, okay, this day I'm going to study this subject for this amount of hours, and then move on, take a break, and then move on to this other subject. Some people can freelance, like, oh, I'm gonna just do this. I suggest creating a schedule, because the schedule keeps you on track. It keeps you disciplined, and you're like, okay, and it just shows that you're organized and like you have everything together. So definitely create a study schedule. You need to study. You cannot cram. Doing that, again, will only set you up for failure, and you're not going to do well. There's just so much you have to learn, so many exceptions, so many rules, so many material that you have to learn and get down for this exam, because you may think like, oh yeah, they're just going to ask this question, and it just goes deeper. So you definitely need to study. You definitely need to read as well. Reading is going to help you in the long run. The cases that your professors are giving you, most likely that scenario, one way or another, will play into your exams for your midterms or your finals or your comps or in the bar. Like, you're definitely going to see similar, like in your readings, like, oh, I remember doing one exam and I was like, oh wow, this is just like, that one case, such and such, and you're able to like, it's like, wow, like I know this, I know what I'm talking about. And you can apply that in your exam. So definitely read. You are going to get cold called in law school. You're going to have to stand up and speak in front of the whole class. It's whether you like it or not, you're going to have to do it. You're going to have to speak up. So you might as well read your case. Because I know my professor, if you didn't read and she called on you, you got kicked out of class. And that was it. You had to get the notes from somebody else. And not everyone takes notes like you or writes down material like you. So, you don't want that to happen to you. And on top of that, that's embarrassing. Everybody, like literally everybody is like deer in headlights looking at you walk out, and it's like, that's embarrassing. Nobody wants to do that. So definitely read. It's going to help you. Again, you can't survive year 1 L year if you do not study. So you definitely have to form new study habits, like I did, and get it done. Because if you don't study, like, it's the end of the world. Also, you do want to look over your past notes that you took for the week, whether it be outlining, flashcards, just However, your study style, if you type your notes, if you write it, you do want to look over it at the end of the week, just to make sure the material is being embedded in your brain, because you're learning a lot. You're taking in a lot of material, things that you never imagined, like, what, this is a law, like, it's just a lot that you're taking in, and you just want to make sure like it's being instilled in your brain. And so again, I'm a visual learner. I'm just going to say that throughout the video. I'm a visual learner. Like, that's just how I am. Yes, PowerPoint things do help me. I also did buy supplements, whether it's the Snappy Happy, whether I looked at YouTube, I looked at videos or anything. Like, definitely YouTube was my best friend. If I didn't understand strict liability or product liability, I hopped on YouTube and looked at other people, like, to break it down, and that was very helpful. So definitely reviewing your material, looking at videos, looking at other supplements will definitely help you and will benefit you in the long run, especially if those type of things help you, or there's just a missing link and why you're not understanding something, it will definitely help you. Tip number 3 definitely has to deal with studying your study groups and then studying independently. How I seen it is studying with your groups is more of review, and then independently is hammering down on the material and making sure you're learning it and grasping this stuff. So I did have a study group. We were a group of 7. They always suggested 4 to 6. However, we had 7 and it worked out just fine. So for my study group, your study group is basically there, to help you review. If you don't understand something or there's just a missing link, they're there to, help you and push you. And they're just there for moral support. Like, everybody, law school is very challenging and you're definitely going through a lot. And so some person may be stronger in a subject and you may not be good in that subject, and you may be better in the subject, and so you guys can put your brains together and help each other out. Make sure you guys are all succeeding and making sure you guys understand the material, as well as if they have any outlines or any information that they have. I know my study group, we shared amongst each other, like, hey, like, this is what I learned, or this is a tip, or this is an acronym I learned that helped the concept stick to me. Maybe this will help you guys as well. So study groups are very good for reviewing information if you need more support, because you guys do spend some time together, you guys do develop bonds, you guys get close, and outside of law school you guys do hang out and things like that. So study groups are definitely good for support, for help, for review. I definitely appreciate my study group. Without them, I'm pretty sure I would have made it, but they really had an impact on, like, my law school experience and how well I succeeded and, like, how well I did. Now, everyone definitely should study independently. Like, that's like off the bat. You should be not always studying with a group. Now, if you work better learning in a group, then hey, that's you. But again, you should study the material by yourself, so you know that you can get it without your study group, that you can regurgitate or spit the information out and understand it. Because it's one thing for people to tell you in your ear and you're like, yeah, but if you don't understand it by yourself, you're not going to do good in exams. You're not going to do as well as you wanted to. So definitely studying by yourself, reviewing the material, going over concepts, that helps. Like, I know one thing that I did, like, I would pretend that I was talking to somebody, or I would literally call one of my friends that weren't in law school and I would make them listen to me talk about this information, just so I can get like a feel, like, okay, Amber, you know what you're talking about, even though they didn't know what I was talking about. It just made me feel better about myself. So definitely studying independently, and that definitely helps. So, you need to have a balance between studying with the group and then studying by yourself, because they will both equal out and it would have a good impact on you. Tip number 4, I believe, I feel like everyone should have a mentor. Shout out to Georgie, that is my mentor. She was an excellent mentor. They're definitely there more than you think. I know my mentor, at least, we're super close now. Like, I always talk to her. I'm always coming to her for advice, not even just law school advice, but like real world like advice, or what's your opinion on this? How do you feel about this? Me and her are close, and me and her are basically the same people. Like, we are just, we were destined to become mentor and mentee, because she's the best, and we're the same people, so we bounce off our energy. Everyone's relationship is different with their mentor. I feel like it's a two-way street, so everybody has to do their part. So if you're a mentor and you're not reaching out to your mentee, that's kind of like, what's up? Or if you're a mentee and you're not reaching out to your mentor, you're kind of like fumbling the bag at most. These are people that went through the exact thing that you did and have experience, who can use their wisdom and their guidance to help you. So I was constantly reaching out to my mentor. She was actually my contracts tutor. Well, she was Section 4's contracts tutor, and so I felt like that was a plus. Even with other subjects, she was always there to help me. So I definitely feel like if your school's offering a mentor-mentee program, you definitely should take advantage of that. Also, with your mentor, they can give you like supplements or material that they had. Is actually really helpful. Like, I really appreciate my mentor. She had a big impact on my 1L experience. So definitely go out there and get a mentor if your school offers that. Okay, tip number 5 is being involved in extracurricular activity. So my 1L year, I was not involved as I would have liked to be, but I did that just because I wanted to get a feel of how law school was, and I just didn't want to overburden myself. They do say you're in a relationship with law school, and that is true. You are in a relationship with law school. She likes to take up all your time. She doesn't allow you to enjoy life or do anything fun. She just wants you to, have all your attention to her. She's very clingy. So definitely, I didn't want to do that. She just had my hands tied. But I know some people that did get involved in extracurricular activities. Like, they were in competitions and they like did well. Like, I feel like because they had like that type of experience, some people are just natural talkers, and so they're comfortable with that. If you want to join a competition, go ahead and join it, but also don't overburden yourself. Again, law school is jealous. She doesn't like when your time is given to anybody else. So make sure you're not devoting all your time to these extracurricular activities and giving your studying and everything minimal effort, because if you do, it's going to show and it's going to reflect in your grades, and again, it's going to harm you in the long run. If you're going out more than you're studying, there's a problem. Like, that should never. I went out, I want to say like 3 times during my 1L year. Like, that's how dedicated I was. Like, people are like, I know people out there like, oh, Amber, you never go out, like, you're never going out. I can't. Like, law school doesn't allow me to do that. Like, she's so jealous, and I'm like, I have to dedicate my time to her. So you just definitely have to let your family know as well. Like, hey, like, I'm very family oriented. I wasn't talking to my family as much because of law school, and it's just a lot. Like, you definitely need to find a healthy balance. Definitely give more time to studying than to partying, having fun, joining organizations. So that's definitely something that you need to consider, and something you have to think about, like, wanting to go to law school. And tip number 6 has to deal with, don't beat yourself up. You're going to do this. One bad grade doesn't define you. I know there's mad geniuses out there, mad smarty pants. People are just so intelligent that are used to getting good grades or succeeding or not getting less than like an A-. Law school really humbles you, and you're like, you take a step back, like, whoa, like, you think you know the material, but there's always exceptions. There's always some minor rule. There's always something out there. And so don't beat yourself up when you don't get the grade that you want. Like law school, I have to, not gonna say half the time, but sometimes I didn't get the grade that I want, and you just have to learn to like, okay, I made a mistake. Maybe I didn't study as hard as I needed to be, or maybe I didn't understand the concept as well as I wanted to. So don't beat yourself up, because you're gonna make a mistake one way or another. And the best remedy or the best advice I can give is, yes, make a mistake, but learn from it and persevere and see it through, because you're gonna be thrown curveballs. You're gonna get the curveballs thrown at you left and right, but it's okay. That's life, and you're gonna learn. You're a 1L. You're learning these grades. That grade doesn't define you. You can always bounce back and succeed and do well. So that's my advice. Don't give up. Don't be hard on yourself when you don't get the grade that you want, because that's life and that's law school. But you will learn, and you're gonna do so well. Like, you're going to succeed. You just have to make sure you challenge yourself, you push yourself to your full capability, your full potential, and you will see results. But again, one bad grade doesn't define you. Mistakes will be made, and you will bounce back, and you will learn, and you will do well. Alright, so that is the end of my video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope my advice will help you in your future journey. Again, those of you who are incoming 1Ls, or those of you that are interested in law school, like and comment below if you guys have any more questions or want to know more. I'll be happy to like reach out to you and answer more questions and explain my experience to you. So yeah, go ahead. If you like this video, like and subscribe. I'm going to try and be more active on my account now that I got the hardest year out the way. So again, thank you for tuning in. I hope my advice helped, and you guys have a wonderful day. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Stay safe, especially during COVID-19 and everything happening in the world right now. So all right, bye guys.